Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. We are live. So do get involved in the comments and the chat. Let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. Going to be giving a little bit of a reaction to the Carabao Cup Draw. United drawn against Newcastle at Old Trafford. A replay of last year's final, of course. Do you feel confident about that one? There's a little bit of a reaction going on. A bit of a mixed bag when it comes to the reactions there. Not the easiest side, but I'd fancy us to beat anyone at home. And I think we can beat Newcastle. So let us know your thoughts on that. We're also going to be chatting about Jadon Sancho. It's still ongoing, this saga, if I can use the word. I feel like I've used the term Jadon Sancho and saga quite a lot over the last few years. First there was the transfer saga. Then there was the little bit of the saga about what was going on last season. Now we've got this one going on where his future is in doubt. Is he going to stay at Manchester United? Is he going to get moved on? Also the PFA getting involved, the club pushing back. It's all kicking off, shall we say, and none of it is really good. So we'll get your thoughts on that. Loads of people in the chat already. Good to see the usual faces, the usual names. Matt Wicks here says, you have to be cautious enough with any United player, let alone one who may have mental health issues and was subject to racist abuse not too long ago, after getting shafted by Southgate. Yeah, talk about Jadon Sancho there, what happened with him when he missed that penalty. You do have to be careful. You do have to be sort of handle players in the right way, but there also has to be a level of professionalism and effort by that player. So even if they are going through something and they're not well, and I'm a big advocate if someone isn't well, that they shouldn't play. I remember when Jadon Sancho, there was this talk and rumours that he was struggling. And if he was struggling, and then people saying, well, we've got an easy game coming up, just play him in that. And I'm like, well, if you're not well, you're not well. It doesn't matter the level of the opposition. If you've got a broken leg, you can't play because we're playing Altrincham. Or we can play him because it's a game against Altrincham, it's an easy game. If you're not well, you're not well, and that should be the same. If it is mental health issues last season, we don't know for certain, then that's something that needs to be considered. But this time around, what has happened is obviously to do with his effort and his level of professionalism. That is what Erik ten Hag has called him out on. That is what he's pushed back on, and that is why we're in this situation that we're in. We're going to get to that in a minute anyway. Loads of people in the chat and the comments. Glenn F, Matt Wicks, Santa Notch says, morning Jay, seeing you predict us getting Newcastle on Twitter. Mystic Jay again, yeah. I went early with the imagine losing to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup after City got knocked out by them and then we got drawn against them. So I'm hoping I don't get to eat my words on that one. Dave Robot and Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan, BMW Racing, Stephen Torres, Stephanie Griffith, Goodpreet, Jill. He always uses my full name, a bit weird. Duncan D's Nuts, Aidan Mack, all saying hello. Sorry if I missed anyone out. Sam H says, morning Jay, you legend. How you're? Well, my brother. I'm all right. I've got a bit of man flu. It's actually not as bad as man flu now. It's sort of just a little bit of a cold. But I'm all right. I'm soldiering on. You know me. Let's talk about the Carabao Cup draw then. Manchester United getting drawn against Newcastle at home. Says here, United faced Newcastle in a repeat of last year's final as they set record for most domestic cup ties drawn at home, while Liverpool and Arsenal face all Premier League ties. Yet United, I think, is it 12 on the spin? We've had 12 domestic cup draws at home, which is a new record. I mean, I'm just going to try and find the actual list. Andy Mitten usually tweets it. Has he tweeted it last night? Probably hasn't, as I have to say, after all that. But yeah, it's like, I think looking at the record from Manchester United, if we can find it somewhere, let's see if we can find it. United home cup draws. Sorry, bear with me. I'm going to try and find this on. See if I can find a tweet. The record for United is pretty phenomenal. Now, someone says here, Sport Bible said, the probability of getting 12 successive home draws is 0.024% and has odds of 4,096 to 1. So very, very unlikely that you're going to constantly keep getting home draws, but like less than whatever that was, less than 0.5%. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's what's happened. We just keep getting these home draws. Now, there's part of you can go, well, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably a good thing. If you keep getting drawn at home, I'd fancy United to beat anyone at home. I'd fancy us to beat City. I'd fancy us to beat Liverpool. I'd fancy us to beat Barcelona. We did all those things last season. Don't forget, we were pretty amazing. Oh, I found it here now. So here's the list, and I'll try and I'll send this to producer Ethan, see if you can get this on the screen, bro. I'll send this to you now. Yeah, we've had so many home draws, 12 on a spin. a lot of them as well have been against Premier League opposition. Hang on a minute, let me just find this. So yeah, I'll run through it anyway. Sorry, I know this isn't exactly great, Sally. Yeah, so we had Newcastle at home is the latest one. Before that, Crystal Palace at home. Before that, Fulham at home. Before that, West Ham. Before that, Reading, Charlton, Everton, Burnley, Villa, Middlesbrough, Aston Villa, and West Ham United. So not only is it a lot of home draws, but it's a lot of home draws against Premier League opposition. I've just sent that through to you if you can get it on the screen. I mean, when you look at that, you think, crikey, what's going on there? What a coincidence. That is amazing that you've got odds of 4,096 to 1, and that has happened. Now, these things happen. Sometimes in football, you get things that are unlikely, unexpected, that you can't predict. And for us to have that run of fixtures, run of home games, yes, it's unlikely. Do I think there's any conspiracy theories going on here? Do I think there's a reason behind it? Some people are trying to claim that. Some people are saying, oh, well, the powers that be want Manchester United to play at home. They want bigger crowds or whatever, or these smaller clubs want to go to Old Trafford. I don't think it is that, personally. I just think it's a mad coincidence. I don't mind a little conspiracy now and again. I just think it's a coincidence there. You can see that run. I mean, the one good thing about those games, or the one thing I will say about those games, a lot of those games are against teams that are below us. I think all of those games, practically, are against teams that are either below us or were below us at the time. There isn't many teams in there. There isn't many sort of like big teams in there where you go, okay, that's a really difficult one. Newcastle are probably the toughest one we've had in that run. If you look, Palace, Fulham, West Ham, Reading and Charlton, obviously not even in our division. Everton, Burnley, Villa. I mean, Villa and West Ham again, and Middlesbrough. None of them teams are better than us, you would say, or at the time were better than us. I know some of those teams actually beat us. I think Middlesbrough beat us, didn't they? But you'd expect us to win those games. So it's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit weird, isn't it? It's just a weird little sort of quirk. Let us know what you think. J.E. Frasconi says, good morning, Jay. For Newcastle, we will have to have as close to a full-strength defence as possible to advance. Their attack has been impressive this year, and Isaac is scary. Let us know what you think. Stephanie Griffith says 63 likes, thumbs up. Yeah, let's get to 200 likes. Smash a like, people. You're watching, smash a like. Santa Notch says many times we'd get a hard away tie, while City and Chelsea would get League 1-2 teams at home in the FA Cup. City have had some really easy draws in the FA Cup. They have, haven't they? And it makes me laugh because they'll have, like, these draws. I remember there was a game they had against non-league. It was something like, I can't remember who it was. It was like this non-league game a couple of years ago, City. And I remember they brought on Jao Cancelo. He came on, and they were drawing at the time. He came on, he helped turn the game, and they won. And the commentators were like, oh, Pep Guardiola, again, showing his sort of managerial class. He knew what changes to make. And I thought, he's just brought on a player that costs more than this entire team they're playing times 10, times 100. I think the average cost of their player was like 10 grand or whatever. And he brought on a £50 million player and he's helped turn the game around. It's not exactly rocket science. But yeah, a lot of the other big clubs do get lower clubs. Lower clubs might be away from home. We have most of our fixtures, well, practically all our fixtures at home, but against teams I'd expect us to beat. Let us know what you think. A couple of people chatting about Jadon Sancho. I'll get to Jadon Sancho in a minute. There was this story doing the rounds in the Express that Newcastle fans apparently not happy because Don Goodman was doing the draw last night. It was Neil Lennon and Don Goodman. Don Goodman obviously used to play for Sunderland, and some Newcastle fans have sort of claimed. You can see Newcastle were then handed a tricky away tie at Manchester United, with Goodman responsible for drawing their ball out of the hat. Some fans on social media went on to accuse Goodman of deliberately pitting the Magpies against Eric Ten Hag's side, although there is no evidence to suggest the draw was rigged. The balls were selected at random under strict conditions, as is standard with cup draws. Yeah, I think a few Newcastle fans are saying, hang on a minute, look, he's looking for our ball there. Look what he's doing there. He's trying to find our ball. He's picking us against United at Old Trafford. I don't think he did. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of a conspiracy there. There's nothing wrong with having a dig at one of your former rivals. You can see it here. Geordie Mag _ says, what we have here, ladies and gents, is none other than ex-Sunderland player Don Goodman having a good look for that number 16. Absolutely disgusting. Dean Marshall 10. Yep, he barely took his eyes off the balls until he had 16. Needs looking into for me. Don't know what others think. And then Daniel 842476395 says, Don Goodman cheating on the draw again. What's going to happen? Then get it put out there, guys. I want to play Man U, but fairly drawn. Looking in the pot, then drawing is BS. Sorry. Now, I thought these were jokes. I thought this was people taking a mick, but I don't think they are. I think this is genuine. Producer Ethan's a Newcastle fan. He's got his finger on the pulse when it comes to our black and white friends. What's going on there, Ethan? Are these genuine concerns amongst your fan base? Don Goodman cheated, producer Ethan says. And if you could see him now, right, Ethan's quite a happy-go-lucky chap. He's absolutely raging. His face is a picture. He's fuming. So it looks like the Newcastle fans are not having any of it. They think Don Goodman stitched them up. Let us know what you think. Would we feel the same if it was an ex-Liverpool or City player doing a draw and we got, I don't know, Liverpool away or whatever? Would you be a bit like, something's going on here? Or do you think, no, come on, this is just, it's just the luck of the draw, shall we say? Let us know your thoughts. Ben Wall says, hi Jay, I've been watching for the past 6 years, love the channel, just wanted to thank you and the guys for great content, informative and entertaining, keep it up, cheers from Perth, Australia. Thanks a lot, Ben, loved our trip to Perth a year ago, absolutely fantastic Manchester United fans, fully respect you guys, and it was our thanks for your support as well. Dad Salford says LMAO. I agree with that. Stephanie Griffiths is always keeping track of the likes. I love that. Says 101 likes. We're now up to 117. Keep going. Come on, let's hit 200. Dean B 1980 said, it's just a hole in the table. He can't see through wood. Lol. Stephanie Griffiths says, VAR, check on the draw. So she's saying, yeah, I think she's joking there. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan says, they do realise that it wasn't even the ex-Sunderland player that drew United. I think the argument is that United had been drawn, and then he looked for Newcastle, according to these conspiracy theories. That he was like, wait a minute, Newcastle, number 16, yeah. No, hang on a minute, no, put that one back. Hang on, what was it, Newcastle? Oh yeah, I've got it now, yeah. I don't know. Listen, we'll see. It might not even work out that badly for him. We've not got through yet. You've not lost yet, Newcastle fans. Just remember now, we got beat off Brighton last time was at Old Trafford. Not last time, the time before last was at Old Trafford. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility you can get a result. Don't give up too quickly. You just beat Manchester City. Hopefully, it won't happen though. Right, let's look at the next one. We've got Jadon Sancho here. This is from, I think this is caught offside. We got this from, but this is originally in the iNews paper. It says here, 250k a week, Manchester United stars relations with Ten Hag is beyond repair. So they're saying here that some are claiming that it could be done. Manchester United winger Jadon Sancho has had a public fallout with manager Ten Hag earlier this season. We know all about that, but it now seems like this could be getting to the point where the relationship is done. You can see further down it says his decision to voice his disapproval at the manager caused a rift between the two, and a report from the iNews. The iNews is behind a paywall, by the way, in case you're wondering why we didn't just go to the original source there. Claims that the relationship is now beyond repair. Erik Ten Hag wants the player to apologise for his actions, but the player has decided not to go ahead with an apology as it could invite similar treatment in the future. There are concerns about the player's attitude within the Manchester United camp. Apparently, there have been a number of issues with the former Borussia Dortmund winger, including timekeeping and a lack of sleep due to playing video games at night. United decided to back the manager on his stance regarding the player's attitude, and it remains to be seen whether Jadon Sancho is sold during the January transfer window. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let me know what you think about Jadon Sancho. I think United fans have been supportive of Jadon Sancho. I think when he was going through whatever the reasons, we don't know the reasons, that he wasn't available and he went away for a few months. I think most United fans supported that decision. When he came back to Old Trafford, I was at the game there, he got a fantastic reception. His name was getting chanted constantly throughout the game when he was on the bench, and when he came off the bench, he got a rapturous applause, and you can see he posted that on his social media. He was even posting pictures of him and Ten Hag, sharing a laugh and a joke. Looked like they had a good relationship. It's obviously all gone Pete Tong. Where do you stand? Do you back the manager? Do you think he's been too harsh? Do you back Jadon Sancho? Or do you think Jadon Sancho needs to grow up? I think Jadon Sancho has let himself down with his actions. I'll be honest with you. I think he shouldn't have posted what he posted on Twitter. I think he shouldn't have left it up for as long as he did. And I think he should have come out and apologised. And I think, listen, I understand the idea if you don't think you've done anything wrong, then you shouldn't feel like you have to apologise, right? I get that. I don't think you should just say an apology if you don't believe in that apology. But I think someone needs to get hold of Jadon Sancho and have a chat with him and point out that he has done something wrong. Hence the reason he's deleted it, I presume. Why else delete it? He shouldn't have posted what he posted. He should be doing better for Manchester United. He hasn't been great since he arrived at the club. Now, you may say that's a separate issue, but it all ties together. Why have we not seen the Jadon Sancho at Manchester United that we saw at Dortmund? In his first season at the club, he was underwhelming. But everyone was, because it was the Ralph Rangnick debacle. So everyone sort of, other than maybe Cristiano Ronaldo, David De Gea and Fred, was pretty poor. But so was Jadon Sancho. Second season, no real improvement, if I'm being honest. Did okay in some games, didn't do that well in others. The manager's moved him around in different positions. He's given him time away, his own personal training regimen. He's brought him back into the fold. He's tried him in a false nine. He's tried him on the right. He's tried him on the left. We've never seen Jadon Sancho consistently play well for Manchester United. I've not seen a great 90 minutes from Jadon Sancho. I've seen some good games where he's had moments and stuff. I think Leeds away, I think he was very good, one that springs to mind. I've certainly not seen a good run of games from Jadon Sancho. I can't recall, and get involved in the chat and the comments and point out if I'm misremembering, I can't recall a time where we've seen Jadon Sancho have a run of 3 or 4 good games for United on the spin. I might be wrong. We've seen some good performances, some good moments. The goal against City away. I'm trying to think of others. There have been others, I just can't think of them. But there have been some good games by Jadon Sancho, but I don't think he's performed consistently. Michiel, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for your support. If you do join the Academy, join our members group or become a member at Stretford Paddock, you get extra content, you get behind the scenes stuff, you get the Fantasy Football Weekly update that we do, me and Joe Smith going toe to toe there. You get access to exclusive stuff as well. You get to join our exclusive chat as well, so go and check that out. Petey says, I can't even recall back-to-back good games, Jay. I can. I'm not trying to dig out Jadon Sancho, but I just can't. Let me know. I'm forgetting. Are we all forgetting? Jay Tomini says, Sancho's been consistently useless. Victoria Simpson says, as Keno would say, Sancho is a baby, a big baby. That was Keno what he said. Poundland Pete says more than £250,000 a week to play computer games. He really is living the dream. Wake up, Jadon. Adam Kenny says Sancho has been more underwhelming than a big, expensive, underwhelming thing. Hit that like button. Let's get to 200 likes. Come on, get involved in the chat and the comments. Hit that like. We've actually got another point to make on this Jadon Sancho thing. Here it says, you can see this is from an aggregator website called, or an aggregator Twitter or X account called United Plug. It says the PFA have stressed that United are required to provide an adequate standard of training for Jadon Sancho, but the club believe they have respected this by assigning specialist coaches to work with him. So the PFA have got involved here. We heard this a few weeks ago, didn't we, or a week ago, that the PFA were going to look into this and say, right, okay, is Jadon Sancho having what he should be getting from the club? Because obviously the PFA, the Professional Football Association, represents the players, not the club. So they're going to look at it from a player's point of view. Now they're saying that United have got to provide him with an adequate standard of training. The club are saying, we're doing that. Just because he's not training with the first team doesn't mean he isn't getting an adequate level of training. They're saying he's working with specialist coaches. Now, part of the issue here isn't just that Jadon Sancho isn't training with the first team. Part of the issue, apparently, according to a lot of reports, according to a story in The Athletic, I think it was from Laurie Whitwell and Dan Sheldon last week, was that Jadon Sancho, even when he has been training with the first team a lot of the time, hasn't been turning up on time, does have issues around timekeeping, does have issues around keeping himself fit. Also as well with Jadon Sancho, if you look at what he's done, if you look at some of his performances, he does seem to struggle a lot of the time. He does seem to sort of fall off a cliff around the sort of 60-minute marks in terms of his fitness. I don't know if that ties in with it, but he does get subbed a lot, doesn't he? And I just feel like he's not performing consistently, and certainly not for 90 minutes for Manchester United. Now, you may say, well, that's because the manager brings him off. But a lot of the time when you watch it, you can see Jadon Sancho's struggles. I'll be honest with you, I've been really disappointed with Jadon Sancho. I just don't see a happy ending here. I think it might be time for him to move on in January. And I was saying this chatting to Steve and Joe about this earlier. I think this is going to upset other players as well. I just don't think this is a good situation. I think there'll be players in the United camp who are close to Jadon Sancho who maybe feel sorry for him, who maybe do feel he's been treated a little bit harshly, who maybe do take his side on that, but can't publicly take his side because they're going to go on against the manager. But they may feel like, that's my mate and I don't like the way he's been treated. There may be others who think he's taking a mick. He's not showing the professionalism you expect from Manchester United. He's not showing that desire and that attitude that you want from Manchester United. And I hate using the word attitude with professional footballers, but I think we have to call it as we see it. So there may be sort of a split in the camp. Now, I don't know that. I'm not going to say, oh, this is causing a rift, but you'd expect him to have a close group of friends there. We know he goes, he posts stuff on social media where he's hanging around with certain players. I think he's quite close to Rashford, quite close to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So maybe they're thinking, this isn't great. This could affect the team in such a negative way. I think Jadon Sancho's been such a disappointing signing for Manchester United. I just do, for a multitude of reasons. Abhinav Verma says, Jay joined late. Can you explain why the PFA are interfering here? They're looking at whether he's getting the right level of training that he should. The club have a duty to provide all their players with an adequate level of training. The PFA represent the players. They'll be looking at whether the Manchester United are doing that. Personally, I think they are, and I think the fact that he's not training with the first team doesn't mean he's not getting training. United are saying that he's getting an adequate level of training, he's getting specialist coaches. Let us know in the comments what you think. Does anyone back Jadon Sancho here? Most of the people I've spoke to seem to be backing the club on this, seem to be critical of Jadon Sancho. That's kind of my attitude towards all this. Does anyone else think differently? Let us know. Michael McKeel says, bought a membership to say thank you for the Adam Crafton video yesterday. This is such important journalism to make the sport and our club a better and more inclusive place. Thanks for the good work. Yeah, Adam Crafton interview with Joe Smith is up on the channel. Go and check that out. Adam Crafton talks about the Jadon Sancho situation, talks about the Anthony situation. He also goes in a little bit into the Greenwood scenario, what happened there. It was Adam Crafton who broke that story, who said that, look, United are ready to bring back Greenwood. Some of the staff aren't happy. Here's what the club are planning. They're going to talk to some of the female players, the women players, when they're away after they get back from the World Cup as well. He broke that. Great journalism. Regardless of what you think about the Mason Greenwood scenario, that was really good journalism. As Sir Alex Ferguson said to the assembled journalists about 15 years ago, or whenever it was, he said, your job is to tell the truth. If you can't do that, you're in the wrong job. Adam Crafton did that. He got to the truth of the matter, and he did very, very good work. Go and check that out. Let me know what you think about all that. Don't forget as well to hit a like. We've almost got to 200 likes. Subham Saha says, sell Sancho. Abhinav Verma says, Jay, sometimes Adam Crafton's voice sounds like Andy Mittens if you only listen to the audio. I didn't notice that, to be honest with you. Interesting. Good to see Solo in the chat there from United Agenda. He says, backing Sancho, as there is two sides to every story. So he's backing Sancho. Are you backing Sancho? You don't hear that very often, do you? Glenn F says he's getting the training he needs. I back him to turn it around. There's an interesting point. Not necessarily just backing him as in terms of, oh, he's been mistreated or whatever. He can turn this around. Do you think he can turn this around? I'm sceptical. I hope he does. I want every single player who plays for Manchester United to do their best and to play well for Manchester United. I would love to see Jadon Sancho come back into the team and do a good job for Manchester United. I really would. I just don't know if you're going to see that. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button as well. Hit the comments. Get involved. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan said, everyone forgetting Fergie would have terminated his contract for not upholding standards. Would he? Got to remember there's a dollar value on this player. You terminate his contract, you lose all that. I don't know if the Glazers will allow that. Fergie probably could have done because he could do what he wanted. But I think the more likely scenario here is Jadon Sancho is sold in January, probably at a bit of a cut price. I think he probably goes for about 30 million. So you're losing, what, 42, 43 million loss on the player. I mean, we've had a couple of seasons out of him, and I think you always take that into consideration where you're looking at the valuation of a player. It's not just a case of, oh, well, you spent 73 million and then you expect to get all that back when you sell him. You've spent 73 million for him to play for you for several years. Him going after 2.5 years, half of those years as well, he probably won't have even played for a loss would be pretty disappointing. But that might be the best way forward. If he's not playing for Manchester United, if he's doing his own thing in training, if I presume it's causing a bit of a drama for some of his mates as well, then it might be time for him to move on. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel. We're going to be back later on with Off the Bar. Me, Adam McCullough, Joe Smith, Stephen Alson. We've got a big announcement as well coming up. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty. This has been The Paper Talk live from the studio. Thanks for watching.